Hello everybody and welcome back to LUTI tonight on the Splatoon Tourney Twitch channel. I am falcoflyer, joined here by DRF and Sapphirea. We're gonna have a fantastic set between Sparkling Sea and Ink Black. DRF, lead us into this one.
And you know what they ultimately come out with to start things off.
Ooh, a Hydra. We like to see that. I'm snapping on the side here.
Okay. So, yeah, a couple of exciting picks here. So the mini though with that E-liter, so that is going to be a focal point here, especially because Sparkling Sea is bringing out this Hydra, which is not a bad pick. It's just with the E-liter on the other side, that's going to be very difficult to have to deal with. But early on, it is going to be Ink Black that takes control of a little bit of center here by popping that Rainmaker, and now they're definitely starting to push up just a little bit. Sparkling Sea taking more of a defensive approach in these opening seconds. Nobody really going down there at this time, as I think these teams are waiting for the other to make the first move and the first mistake.
Yeah, it looks like we're both looking for the opening on both sides here. You have a Crab kind of going out in mid, and you also have, a very good pick on the side of Ink Black. By the E-liter, and something very curious, the E-liter on Ink Black is the only one wearing Object Shredder, which I find really interesting, and not something that you normally see, I feel like, on Rainmaker, especially with your other mates not wearing Object Shredder with you. So I'm curious to see how that is going to fare for them in terms of popping and who can pop first.
Yeah, that's a very excellent point there, and definitely a very interesting idea indeed, as we are now going to be seeing, though, it's Ink Black that gets 2 down, and they are going to progress all the way to that first checkpoint, largely uncontested there, once again finding 2 down, and this push is definitely not over. The Hydra doing everything that they can to hold their position, and it looks like it's going to be the dualies that drop in to try to get a couple of quick picks there, but are not going to be able to survive that 1v3 situation. Ink Black at full strength and starting to slowly work their way up, playing very patiently here, and now opening a door for the Rainmaker to slip through and put some more points on the board.
And it looks like the Rainmaker themselves is actually a little bit hesitant, maybe not seeing that there was 2 down, not taking opportunity that there was 2 down on the side of Sparkling Sea, but now making the best that they can, getting it all the way to the 22 up the ramp with 3 down on the side of Ink Black. Sparkling Sea making the respawn and coming back into the map with the Rainmaker. It looks like we're going to pop and reset, hopefully going back into the middle and maintaining middle, and let's see if we can make another push here.
Yeah, and a great push there from Ink Black, bringing it all the way to 22 remaining. Took about half the game to get there. So definitely a little bit, I would say that's a pretty on average pace for this particular map mode, as this does tend to be relatively low scoring, and 22 certainly can be a game-winning push. But if you were with us in that previous set, you know that this lead most definitely is not safe, but you can get a little bit comfortable.
I'm really impressed too by this Crab's positioning. The Crab has been a really good supporter here on the side of Ink Black. We saw it earlier with that 22 push. The Crab was able to kind of position themselves nicely in order to hold people back. We have some people that are getting hit by the Wave Breaker. You have 3 that are marked on the map. You have 1 down on each side. A lot of torpedoes coming out. Really happy to be seeing a lot of this custom junioring happening in these matches lately, just because I don't know if I speak for a lot of people, but I was getting a little tired of Ninja Squid there. So having all this custom junior action happening has been making me really happy, regardless if it's against me.
Oh, definitely. And with this 3 down, make that a delayed wipe. It is now going to be Sparkling Sea that are able to take control of this Rainmaker. They will get that first checkpoint. And now what they need to start doing here is get this pop and start moving up a little bit. You want to start getting a couple more picks and giving yourself a window of opportunity to get the lead here. And it looks like they're going to find just that, but they do lose 2 of their members. So this is going to be a little bit of a precarious situation to move forward, and they're going to close that gap significantly, and they're still have 3 down on the side of Ink Black, so they could still get the lead here.
And then there they go. They took it just a little bit. They just had to get that one pop and just get those 2 feet in there to get to the 20 mark. But we have Ink Black now on the respawn, picking up the Rainmaker, making their way back to mid. The Hydra is down on the side of Sparkling Sea, so we are lacking some range there on their side. And we do have a Hydra on Ink Black, so we do have a range advantage for the time being. Crab coming out on the side of Ink Black. We have 2 specials ready on the side of Sparkling Sea. We only have 1 special ready on the side of Sparkling Sea. Unfortunately, the Dooley's going down there. But it looks like Ink Black is actually going to try their best to break into the right. They just need a couple more feet in order to get a lead on Sparkling Sea. But if Sparkling Sea can play their good defense right in this last bit here, as they just did right there, coming out round in a flank from behind, the first game goes to Sparkling Sea.
A fantastic game between these 2 teams to open up the set, decided by a mere 2 points, as Ink Black seemed to have a lot of control there early on, pushing it all the way to 22 remaining. And as I said, you can start to get a little bit comfortable, and a lot of times that is a game-winning push. But if they were paying attention at all to that last set, you know that teams are have really started to figure out how to get more sustained pushes here on this map mode, where I believe in the first season that we had, it definitely was not this high scoring. So Sparkling Sea, though, found a way to get it done here, and ultimately shutting down Mini on Ink Black's last-ditch effort to try to come back.
Yeah, and you could see, too, throughout that whole game, both teams right at the beginning were playing very cautiously, just trying to get some turf down, making sure that they had enough area to move around and to help themselves get picks, try to get their backlines into position. And it kind of just came down to, are there 2 members down? Are there 3 members down? Can we take advantage of this? Can we not? And we kind of got to see that throughout that game. And you could tell both teams were really trying to play it cautiously and try to take the opportunity wherever it presented itself. One thing too about Mako Mart, it's such a fun one with the stacks, and with the stacks being around the zone. It's such a good map, I feel, for Slayers, because there's just so many little nooks and crannies and boxes to climb about, and especially when you get stuck in a 1 versus 1. It can just make it so versatile and intense, because there's just so many nooks and crannies to hide in and swim up.
Most certainly. And let's take a look at these comps. It looks like Sparkling Sea is actually going to be trading out their Hydra for a VDS. A very interesting choice here. That's going to allow Sparkling Sea to run double Wavebreaker, which I think is going to be pretty interesting, especially I think a way to hopefully flush out that back line. It might be what they're hoping for, and actually both these teams putting it right around that pillow to start out the game there, to make it difficult for either team to step into the zone.
I'd like to think that when teams choose to run double Wavebreaker, I'd like to think of it as like Big Shot and Salmon Run, because when there are 2 big shots, that does make things pretty complicated with everything else going on around you. So I could see it working for them in the long run. But it is an interesting pick, I feel, for zones in particular. But maybe there's something that I'm missing here, and Ink Black's really going to make it work for them and whip it out. But they did keep the E-Leader. They did keep the E-Leader, so that there is still a backline going on there. And like you said, it looks like the DS is going to kind of act as almost the backline for Sparkling Sea. Hopefully global as well.
Yeah, you know, I guess it's their longest range weapon, so I guess it's a mobile backline here. But taking a look, though, it's going to be Ink Black that maintains control, and they're going to be trying to expand this lead, as they are already down to 50 ticks remaining. They have 1 down plus a couple of jump outs there, so this is going to be a huge push for Ink Black, and Sparkling Sea now needs to work on building up some of these specials to give themselves an opportunity to work their way back in. A couple members popping up on this left stack to try to get themselves into a key position here to try to take back this zone. But it's going to be Mini on that E-Leader, and it's going to make it very difficult, and the Crab Tank's going to have to come out to try to slow things down, but a Crab's coming from behind them.
Oh, a flanking Crab is that kind of a rare one to see. And you have 3 down on the side of Sparkling Sea. Oh, all of them kind of just feeding in there right at the end. Ink Black making it so difficult for them to kind of bust out of there. They really took advantage of a 3 down situation that happened earlier. And especially the Brella the Brella player and the C Junior taking control of that right stack and basically controlling that stack for the entirety of the game, which I think was a really good position for them because they were able to paint all the way in front of Sparkling C's zone, or right before the zone, like on their side. So they were able to kind of keep turf throughout that game.
Yeah, and Ink Black really executed that to near perfection once they got control of that zone. Sparkling Sea seemed to have given themselves a couple of avenues there to try to work back in, but I think that the pressure of that E-leader was just a little bit too much to overcome, and when they brought out the crab tank as a means of trying to counter it, suddenly Ink Black had a crab tank of their own to respond with, and it just rendered Sparkling C's efforts to nothing, and they were able to run away with this game. So now we have ourselves in a tied set going into game number 3.
And you could see too at the beginning of that replay there, that carbon roller just trying to look for an opening, but there was just a sea of green in front of them, unable to try to get in there successfully with stealthily, really, without being seen. And at the end of the replay too, you could see that there was some some effort there on the side of Sparkling Sea to try to get that zone, just to get it out of control, even if just for a little bit. But the inking power on the side of Ink Black was just too strong, and even the E-leader at the end there was able to move up into mid because there was so much ground coverage for them to escape if they needed to. So well played by the side of Ink Black. Having one win each. Who's going to get their second win here?
Exactly, and that is the question that we will be answering as we dive in to game number 3. Let's take a look at these compositions. Quite a few adjustments as they get out of spawn here. Wipers, Tri-Sloshers, Blasters. What is going on here?
Yeah, we removed the E-leader from the situation. We still have Hydra going on, and yeah, I'm interested that Wiper. I'm interested to see what's going to be brought to the table here. Both teams going out right in the middle. As I always say, Clan Blitz is a team deathmatch until somebody gets the first wipe, and then that basket gets busted open. So we have a lot of ink going down in mid right now. We have Ink Black covering their side very well. Bug coming in with the Splatana and getting almost a pick going on, but then 2 down on the side of Ink Black, and it looks like we're getting some this ways going out, trying to get some clam economy going on the side of Sparkling Sea, but pretty relatively low clam economy so far for the first minute of the game.
Yes, certainly. And with Scorch Gorge, I think you put that perfectly there, is that it's almost a team deathmatch, because in order to get a solid push going, you need to get a wipe, or at least very near a wipe with 3 picks, or maybe, 2 picks and then stagger another. But yeah, it not really was what it kind of comes down to get the first successful push. And sometimes that can take up to 5 minutes for that to happen, as these teams are trading picks back and forth. Ink Black going to be going 2 down there, so Sparkling Sea is going to move up just a little bit to try to get a little bit more map control here, but the clam economy still not quite in their favor, as now they're starting to juggle those clams around. But Wyatt is ready to get the stop, and the stop will happen, as now Ink Black finds themselves with a major numbers advantage to work with.
And you could see too, the Hydra's got Booyah ready. They're in a good position to kind of make a rebuttal if they were needing to, but the Hydra goes down, the bucket goes down, only 2 up on the side of Sparkling Sea. Ink Black has the clam economy, but we just are needing a ball, and there we go, the first pop being made by Ink Black.
And they have that bubble coming out as well, so that's going to provide a little bit of a beacon for them to work with, but the bubble's going to get shredded very quickly there, so it doesn't really work out the way that they had intended there. But they're keeping this basket open, slowly moving forward, but that's going to finally be 3 down. Blaster, last one standing, opting to retreat, but maintaining just enough pressure to where Sparkling Sea can't start to push back. They're going to think about this one first and buy their team a little bit of time to get back in here and get ready for a defensive stop.
Yeah, we can see Sparkling Seas trying to get some ink down, looking for the clams that they need in order to maybe make another ball. And we have kind of the same stalemate that we had at the beginning. We're fighting for some turf, fighting for clams, trying to look for that opening. It almost sometimes in the game, it can turn into team deathmatch again. it can turn into it again until somebody else can make a pop. But so far, Ink Black has the advantage, but we do have a ball on the side of Sparkling Sea. Looks like we're looking for an opening. A good pick by the, oh my gosh, who is that? They were swimming so fast I can't even see what they're using. The Machine, a double pick by the Machine. We have 2 kills on the Machine. Going for that third one, but not quite finding it. Getting a ball and going for that pop, and will they get it with the crab pressure?
Oh, the crab pressure just a little bit too much there, as in now that's going to be a staggered 3 down on the side of Ink Black. Sparkling Sea looking to punish, but it's a little bit late as Ink Black is already back at full strength here before Sparkling Sea can establish any control of mid. The Inkjet could be popping out. That's a beautiful pick on the Machine there, falling off of the center tower.
Completely
wow.
parallel. Completely, perpendicular with them. That was the timing. The timing of that was...
A perfect shot indeed. And I mean, as a fellow Tri-Slosher player that really can't use their Inkjet, I am thoroughly impressed by that play.
I hope they're feeling good after that one. I would be.
And now it's going to be back to a fairly neutral game here. Sparkling Sea looking to establish a little bit of a number control because they're going to need to get 2 or 3 down here to give themselves an opportunity at a game-winning push here. They're going to need 2 power clams plus 1 to get the lead.
Oh, and here we had a Booyah, we had the bucket take out 1, we have Stamp coming in, making a pathway, we have the football coming around. Oh, but then the person picking it up goes down. Unfortunately, an Ink Black on the defense this game has been just excellent. They've been able to respawn and just be where they need to be at the right time, and it's really giving Sparkling Sea some trouble. Sparkling Sea had a pretty decent push going there with both specials, the Booyah and the Stamp coming out in order to clear the way, but unfortunately, Ink Black was just as keen to it as they were. So that was good defense by Ink Black, and good offensive pushes by Sparkling Sea. You could tell Sparkling Sea wasn't going down without a fight. They definitely kept trying to break in there as best as they could, but unfortunately Ink Black's defense was superior in this one.
Yeah, they did everything they needed to once they got their first score in, and that was to play low defense but apply the pressure just enough to where Sparkling Sea would not be able to break in so easily, even following a 2 or 3 down. They never went completely 4 down wipeout. They maintained at least 1 person at all times to have a little bit of that pressure. And ultimately Sparkling Sea just was not able to break in. Their one opportunity looked so good, but I think things weren't as coordinated as they needed to be in order to get that first ball in. But an excellent effort though nonetheless. It's going to be Ink Black that takes the 2-1 lead in this set.
I'm curious if we're going to see a Hydra and E-Leader again, or if we're going to see maybe something different. But we do see the Hydra. The Hydra is back to play. That's also actually my main weapon in this game, or in this current meta. So love to see it. And we actually are bringing out a splatter scope with the Ink Black. So that's fun.
Yeah, splatter scope is definitely a different pick here. As I'm hoping that's a little bit of spectator lag there.
Yeah, we were having some problems
Ink
that wall there.
I know, Ink Black struggling to get up this wall here. Finally able to do so. But they're going to see their custom junior going down early. And here's the key thing is if you see one of your members go down, you need to play it safe. You can't let the second person go down. And now we're actually going to see Sparkling Sea be maybe just a little too aggressive here, as they're not going to find themselves 2 down. But I think they pushed up just enough to where Ink Black is going to hesitate to take control of this tower. Finally going to be able to do so there. Getting the blaster. There's the 3 down. A huge pick by Total Star.
Yo, Ink Black with the wipeout, an early wipeout in the first minute of the game with that Ink Strike. Oh my goodness, right place, right time for throwing those, that's for sure. And then Sparkling Sea is going to have some issues trying to get back in here if they can play their cards right and get in the right position.
And it looks like Sparkling Sea able to get 2 down there. So they are looking to get the stop here, but no, 3 down again. And Ink Black is going to be able to break through this 3rd checkpoint. And this is, as I said before, this is where things just really start to fall apart. Ink Black just needs to push this a little bit further. But actually, we're going to get a stop here from Sparkling Sea. So they are going to come up big here on the defensive end, and they buy themselves a little bit more time. And if they can now convert defense to offense, that is where things could completely flip on their head, because at the very least they got the stop, and this is a very momentum based map mode. They can just swing this in their favor and look to try to KO themselves if they can get those same exact picks.
Yeah, that was quite a flip of a switch at the 5-point mark, getting the wipeout at the 5-point mark and flipping this game around. We're at the 77 point. We have taken first checkpoint, and Sparkling Sea is doing a really good job of staggering themselves on this one. It looks like Ink Black is getting a little flustered with trying to get in on the respawn. You have Try Ink Strike coming out again. The Hydra in wonderful positioning, able to kind of push up because their mates were able to paint in front. Like, I think a lot more than they were intending to with that wipeout. I'm not sure if even Sparkling Sea was expecting that wipeout at first. And we get a second wipeout on Ink Black by Sparkling Sea. They decided to come back in after that first minute, after that 5-point mark. They were like, we're not letting this happen again. And now we're going on to checkpoint number 3. Ink Black is struggling to get back into this map.
And there's the 3rd checkpoint falling. It's only the Splatterscope, but the Splatterscope goes down. And Sparkling Sea on a march to victory. And to come from behind to knock out and tie this setup at 2 games apiece.
Not 1 wipeout, not 2 wipeouts, but 3 wipeouts on the side of Sparkling Sea in the span of about 1.5 minutes to 2 minutes. Very well played.
Wow. I mean, definitely making me, I think simultaneously making me eat my words, but also reaffirming everything that I said at the same time in a very bizarre way here. And, showing how you are able to get the defensive stop even after a team starts out really big there, but also doing exactly what I said, where this is such a heavily momentum based. If you're able to get a wipe, it's almost certainly a knockout, and that's exactly what they did there. So kind of showing us both sides of the coin, to various opinions of this map mode.
Yeah, and if you could see on the replay here too, this gameplay at the end here by Sparkling Sea was just immaculate. That bubble coming out at the right time, the Hydra being able to be positioned in the bubble on the tower, Ink Black just still on the respawn trying to come back in, but with the other 2 members kind of skirmishing and able to hold them back so the Hydra is protected on the tower. Just very well played there at the last second, and really like under pressure of trying to get those points too, knowing that 5 is a tough number to beat from nothing. It's a tough number to combat. And so, Sparkling Sea just executed that wonderfully. They were able to keep that tower moving. As soon as they got that one good, that momentum going and got that push going, there was just no stopping them. So, yeah, just wow.
Something that we always talk about, Hydra and E-Leader, I would definitely anticipate here, but Slayer-wise, you definitely want something to work those ledges. And a blaster and a machine on either side here definitely going to help with pressuring those backlines that have been key so far.
Yeah, and we actually see that the Hydra is changing out for an E-Leader. So we have an E-Leader per piece. We have an E-Leader per team. And we also have a kind of the same composition going on the side of Sparkling Sea. You still have that shot. You have the E-Leader, the E-Leader got changed out for the Hydra, but you still have that shot going on. And the Blaster, I don't think we've seen the Blaster since or have we even seen a Blaster yet? I thought we saw one maybe in game 1 or game 2, but either way, it's coming back out here in this game.
Oh, and take a look at this. It's Ink Black that is going to be taking 3 down here. However, a little bit slow on the uptake to get to this Rainmaker. So they're just going to go ahead and take their time here. Just go pick up this Rainmaker, swing it to the far right side, play it a little bit safe, and very assuredly getting that first checkpoint.
Yeah, almost effortlessly getting that first checkpoint. Not to say that there wasn't some kills to be had, but just kind of leisurely making their way up there. And we're going to actually pick it up again with the checkpoint being open. The leader getting taken down, 3 down on the side of Sparkling Sea, and with a whopping 6. A 6 on the side of Ink Black. Only a few more points to go on that one, but we have Sparkling Sea on the respawn with 3 down on the side of Ink Black.
And that is going to be it for this push, but 6 remaining is huge for a minute and a half into this game, where Museum de Alfonsino can be very slow once you break through that first checkpoint, and you're kind of just pushing for single points at a time. But Ink Black said, nah, we're just going to go ahead and speed run this one a little bit and get all our points on the first push. And now we got about 3 minutes to play with here to maintain some pressure, as we see Nova then ready to go on a rampage here, pressuring that back line. Wow, but ultimately, I think going to just maintain some position, I think that's a great choice, drop down and just keep up some pressure.
Yeah, and I was wondering if we were going to just see a repeat of last game with Ink Black getting the majority of their points right at the beginning, and then Sparkling Sea kind of taking the win from them near the end there. But it looks like Sparkling Sea is kind of having some issues trying to get off of Black. Ink Black, once again, doing a really great job of just maintaining ground down in mid, making it really difficult for them to kind of push forward and having to keep on paint their platform over and over again. But we see Ink Black is going to take the Rainmaker now at this one and trying to push 2 members of Sparkling Sea back, 2 down on the side of Sparkling Sea. And we have Wave Breaker out, and the E-Leader is in position, just trying to look for that pick on that Rainmaker. And the Rainmaker is stalling a little bit, trying to see if there's an opening. And the members of Ink Black look like they're kind of trying to struggling to try to go in for 1v1s, but now there's a firefight happening on the spinner, and the Rainmaker gets taken down on the side of Sparkling Sea.
Ooh, and that's a 3 down there. So this push once again over, but Ink Black just continuing to make their presence felt by Sparkling Sea. And that's really all you need to do at this stage. I don't think they're going to get the knockout, and that's okay. You know, this is a very difficult stage to get that knockout on, but you just need to focus on your key objectives at this point, which is to play a solid defense and continue to get picks at trades at times like we just saw there, because trades are going to work in your favor at this stage as Sparkling Sea is slowly beginning to run out of time to make a move, and they're going to need a numbers advantage to work with. So if you can at the very least get a trade, you're gonna put Ink Black in a solid position.
Yeah, and you can see Sparkling Sea is definitely playing it safe here, not trying to run out where they can't reach, and not trying to go too far back to where they lose a lot of ground. But Ink Black really is making it hard for them. You have 2 down on the side of Sparkling Sea and 1 down on the side of Ink Black with special ready, 2 specials ready on the side of Ink Black. Once again, playing defense just effortlessly, almost effortlessly on against Sparkling Sea. And Sparkling Sea is kind of having a tough time with that, but it seems like if they're able to kind of break through that defense, then they can get a really good push in like we saw in last game. So I'm rooting for them. 24 seconds left on the clock. No points on the board yet from Sparkling Sea, and Ink Black with 6 points remaining.
And here is the first push for Sparkling Sea with 15 seconds on the clock. Gotta get to that first pedestal, but no! It's going to be a nice shutdown there by Toto Star. And with the wipeout, that is game. Ink Black taking game number 5 and the lead in this set at 3-2.
Yeah, they were Ink Black has a tough defense to break. And they've been proven. It's been proven now, like a few times in those 2 games. They especially those last 2 games that they've won. Their defense is just almost impenetrable. They're really good at being able to watch for flanks and watch for who's coming where. And I'm wondering, like, what's going on in that VC? What's going on in that VC to where you can keep your defense pretty solid and make it difficult for others to try to break it.
Yeah, and you know, I like that you bring that up actually, because it takes some good leadership to be able to make sure that everyone's on the same page, especially in the position that Ink Black was in. You need to make sure that you maintain the pressure, but you also need to corral your teammates a little bit. Whoever is, being the lead shot caller needs to help their teammates make sure that they're playing solid positions. They're in a fantastic spot. You don't want to overplay it. And they seem to have done a pretty solid job there. I think they, at the very end, may have started to get a little bit too aggressive, which did lead to Sparkling Sea's push there at the very least. But they didn't go down enough to put their lead in jeopardy. So an excellent effort there by Ink Black to maintain that lead late in the game. And now they're up as we look towards game number 6, which will be Splat Zones on our brand new map, Brinewater Springs.
And a lot of splashing happening. So I'm curious to see if we're going to go a little more short range here, or if we're going to keep the long. And we're actually going to keep the Hydra. We're going to switch back from E-Leader to go back to the Hydra, and the E-Leader is going to stay on the side of Ink Black as well.
Some interesting picks there. I do think that Typh is going to be actually the person to watch out for, as you do not want them to flank. You don't want a flanking Carbon, and that's exactly what they're already starting to do. They're trying to set themselves up for Ink Black to just push up maybe a little bit, and suddenly they are on a tear. And take a look here, they're already pressuring this backline, but the back a little bit slow on the uptake there, and the backline able to get out teammates, able to support to shut down that Carbon deco.
Yeah, you could tell they were waiting for the right moment, but yeah, a little slow on the uptake, and unfortunately gave themselves away a little too soon. The E-Leader being able to get away as quickly as possible, and the teammates able to kind of give them support where they needed it. But we now have Sparkling Sea in control, taking it away and getting them a 33-point penalty on the side of Ink Black. But not for long, as Ink Black has a Crab, and a wonderful double pick by Wyatt with Crab Tank.
Wyatt leading the way here for Ink Black in the first half of this game, as they now are back on the ramp. And if they could build up another Crab here and set it up right at the bottom of the ramp looking up at the members of Sparkling Sea, that's going to make it so difficult for them to come back.
But it looks like Sparkling Sea is going to do that, but in reverse, and they're going to do Crab Tank from up top. But unfortunately, probably not gaining as much ground as they were hoping there, but they did definitely push some members of Ink Black out of the zone. But Ink Black is still able to maintain a lot of ground here in the middle. Typh coming in with that Carbon, almost going for that flank, but not quite reaching it, and actually getting taken down themselves.
And a couple of Booyah Bombs coming in, and there you go. The Booyah Bomb will flip the zone, and that wasn't even quite on the zone. I think it took those 2 Booyah Bombs to each be half on the zone to flip it, because this is almost reminiscent of Splatoon 2 with Humpback Pump Track, where 1 Booyah Bomb could flip an entire zone, and that's the exact same case here. Just a testament to how small it is, and it doesn't take much for the control of the zone and the tide of this game to turn.
Good pick on by the Hydra. The Hydra is doing a really good job of keeping themselves in a good position to not only paint, but also provide a lot of support in mid. So you really like to see that. And actually, I'm really impressed with Sparkling Sea really keeping themselves clear of that E-Leader. They've all been able to kind of maneuver themselves in a way. You could see Light trying to have to thread the needle there with that Booyah Bomb and still getting a pick out of it. That was impressive. Especially with like a time crunch, but we have Sparkling Sea now on the aggression side with only 30 points left in the game, keeping the zone tight. And we have Typh in their spawn, almost getting that pick, pushing the Brella all the way back into spawn with a whopping 13 points. And Ink Black coming in trying to get zone back, and they take control.
Oh man, and right in the nick of time there, as Ink Black was looking to possibly lose their lead, but found a couple of picks at the right time to flip that back, and now reestablishing themselves in the position that got them to this spot in the first place. And with only 20 ticks left on their penalty, it looks like Sparkling Sea is going to have to pop all their specials here to flip this zone back in their favor. The Booyah Bomb will certainly help. The second Booyah Bomb coming out, but it's not going to be enough to flip it as Ink Black holds on for just a little bit more. The second pick there should put this game away, and that will do it. Ink Black will take a game number 6 and a commanding lead in this set at 4-2. Wow, phenomenal game there from both of these teams to really just make it pretty competitive there. It seemed like Ink Black was going to run away with that one for a moment, but Sparkling Sea never gave up there. They got themselves back in it, put themselves in a spot where they can stay within striking distance, but ultimately just weren't able to pull it off one more time to extend the game a little bit more.
Yeah, and I've been so impressed so far with these things that Sparkling Sea has been doing, because it's like you said, you think that Ink Black was going to take the game, but then Sparkling Sea just came back and got it all the way down to 13. And especially with this double Booyah comp that they're running, throwing the Booyah bombs on the zone like as quick as they can and as much as they can, and giving them that advantage almost like really quickly in a way. But unfortunately, again, Ink Black was just with that defense and able to not only get picks where it mattered, especially by Wyatt, who I believe is like their resident Splash user. I have not seen them change from Splash once so far this evening. Getting 2 picks there right at the end, and especially when you get your picks dying in the zone. It's so crucial when you're trying to go for your picks, and especially if they're in the zone, it's even almost more important to try to get that pick, and it's almost even like worth a little bit more risk to get that pick, as long as they are going to die in the zone.
Certainly. To jump up the steps where you're completely vulnerable, trying to lead into a push. Instead, you just hold forward, and now you're suddenly underneath the basket and ready to go with your 20 clams to build up a massive lead.
And I think too, I think that having that ramp there too also makes it easier for people to like actually get picks from the opposite side, from the spawn side, because I also feel that sometimes when you had that box there, there was some weird distance between trying to get people.
I get what you're saying, and I definitely think that is partially the case. So it definitely changes a couple of dynamics on either side, just a small addition. But let's take a look at some of these comps here that these teams are bringing out. We're seeing a lot of the same from both of these teams, I believe. And it's, I think they're kind of just sort of sticking to what's been most comfortable for them at this stage, especially if you're Sparkling Sea. With very little wiggle room at this stage, you have to win out in order to take this set.
And Sparkling Sea, I believe, is putting their best foot forward in this one. We already had 1 pick down on the side of Ink Black, and we have a ball ready to go on the side of Sparkling Sea. But unfortunately, Ink Black just once again putting up the defense on their plat, making it really difficult to try to bust in there. You had a Crab going out and putting it down a lot of cover fire, maintaining a lot of that ink in mid, and Sparkling Sea's just still having some difficulty trying to break in there. And you have a good 1v1 happening here on the side of with Typh, and fortunately both members going down to each other.
And take a look at this. That's going to be 3 down on the side of Ink Black as they were getting geared up for a push of their own. But Sparkling Sea now with 20 clams to their name, getting ready for the counter push here, as that's going to be the Booyah Bomb coming out. Possibly a little bit too aggressive. Jaden realizing very quickly, yeah, no, there's 4 people standing in my way. I'm gonna just wait for my teammates here, and that they do, and that's gonna be a successful power clam in the basket, but that will also be the wipeout. And, they get the power clam in, but now the question is, at what cost?
Yeah, it's hard to sometimes you get a little too excited, and I understand where Sparkling Sea is coming from. Sometimes you get that first pop and you have another ball in the queue, and sometimes it just doesn't go quite your way, and you get a little too ahead of yourself. And we have 2 down on the side, 3 down actually on the side of Sparkling Sea, with the last member going down. We have 51 clams, 48 clams in there with 2 remaining to try to keep that basket open. Sparkling Sea now on the respawn, trying to get some ink down, trying to clear the members of Ink Black out from underneath that basket. And you have a ball coming in, but I'm unsure if they are going to make it for this push, so that might be it for this first push. But 42 for the side of Ink Black, and we still have 80 on the side of Sparkling Sea. Still 2 minutes left in the game, so it's still anybody's game at this point.
And what I really liked about that push is they utilized that Crab perfectly, got it into a nice advantageous position on the wall, and was able to take down the back line. And that's really what sort of tumbled things for Ink Black to get the lead that they do have now. Now opting to back up a little bit, play some defense, utilize their specials defensively to push Sparkling Sea back. And right now they have complete control of this clam economy. So if they can just continue to keep the clams on their side and out of the hands of Sparkling Sea, they should be in a pretty good spot going into this last minute.
We have a crab up on the side of Ink Black, and for a moment there we had 2 down on the side of Ink Black, but unfortunately I don't think we had the clam economy on the side of Sparkling Sea in order to make a proper push, but you have 1 going down on the side of Ink Black, and they still have a clam ready, but it doesn't look like they're going to push unless they want to. They don't really need to, but I guess if they have the opportunity, I'm sure that that's what that clam is going to be for. But it looks like Sparkling Sea is working on getting some clam economy going. They have 9 now, but Ink Black is also doing a really good job of keeping clams away as well.
Yeah, they certainly are. And at this stage, that's kind of what you need to do, especially with Sparkling Sea having all of their specials online. Keep clams out of their hands. Build up power clams if you need to and toss them to the side. But no, take a look at this. It's 3 down and Sparkling Sea will get their push off here. But the machine, as the last person standing for Ink Black on this push, gets a couple of nice picks there to buy their team a little bit of time. And that's going to be 3 down on the side of Sparkling Sea. And this might be it. The basket will close, but they do have a pity clam to work with, so we should get just a little bit of overtime.
Oh, 1 going down on the side of Sparkling Sea, and I believe that Sparkling Sea, correct me if I'm wrong, DRF, but Sparkling Sea needs 2 power clams in order to take lead here?
2 power clams should do it, because they'll need the 13 plus, what is that, like 24, so I can't do quick maths, but essentially 2 power clams will do it for them. But they're not even going to get 1 towards out of their spawn here, and that will do it. Ink Black wins this set in 7 games.
Well done, well done. I gotta hand it to him, and I've already said it a few times. I was just so impressed with their defense. I was so impressed that they were able I was so impressed that they were able to not only just like get a bunch of points right at the beginning, but then they were able to get in a good spot, like a comfortable spot, in order to get themselves to play defense and to get in a good spot to play defense. And Sparkling Sea was really struggling with that. Like, it was almost like discouraging in a way. I hope they weren't discouraged, because sometimes it's really hard to make a comeback once you get so many points.
Yeah, it certainly is, but they did a great job of working their way back and giving themselves an opportunity. Unfortunately for them here in overtime, they just did not have the map control in that final minute to give themselves a chance to push up. And even though Ink Black did not get that extra power clam in, that was just kind of adding salt to the wound. But the main thing was that they maintained that pressure and ultimately did not give Sparkling Sea any room to make a move in overtime. So with that, that is going to be Ink Black that wins this set, but let's go ahead and toss it back over to Falco.
Yeah, DRF, Saf, you guys commentated a great set. A lot of close games. There were like a few things in particular with game 1, having that overtime push where that last second push basically by Sparkling Sea to get the win was fantastic. And they even did that same exact thing on tower control too during game 4. But the defense on game 5, Rainmaker on Museum d'Alfonsino, it was so hard for Sparkling Sea to pick up the Rainmaker whenever they had the opportunity to. I mean, Ink Black locked them out the entire time. I think it was like the last 10 seconds where Sparkling Sea were finally able to get it. But Ink Black coming out on top, winning that set 5-2. So with that, that is going to be it for LUTI tonight. DRF, where can we find you?
You can go ahead and find me on Twitter at DRF_Splatoon, on Twitch, Triton DRF, probably more likely on the CCH Twitch, CCA_Splatoon.
And Saf, thank you for hopping on the mic tonight. Where can we find you?
You can find me on Twitter at SafiRhea with not 1, but 2 A's at the end. Count them, 2 A's at the end. And when we are on Twitch, we are on twitch.tv/Safirea.
All right, and you can find me, falcoflyer, on Twitch and falcoflyer11 on Twitter. This is the first edition of LUTI Tonight. We will be having another matchup tomorrow. It is going to be 2 Friday Night Frenzy teams going at it. Aquatic Vanguard versus Marine Melody. That is going to be starting at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time. It's going to be such a good set. I'm so excited for that one.
Oh, I'm so excited to watch that one.
A blast to the past.
I know. I wish those teams would have faced each other in the season, but yeah. Season 3 and Season 4 teams going at it. But hey, if you guys want your Splatoon, if you guys want your LUTI set streamed, you can join the Discord by typing !Discord in chat. You can stay in the loop too if you want to get notified when we go live. And make sure you follow the Splatoon Tourney Twitch channel. And like I said, tomorrow night we're going to go live at 9:30 Eastern, trying to get a double header. If we do, it will be after that, but that's still in the works. And then we will hopefully have a stream for you on Saturday or Sunday. So, yeah, you guys definitely want to follow and stay in the loop. But that's going to be it for tonight. Thank you all for tuning in, and I hope you have a fantastic, fantastic night.